a six-figure mentality. Have you ever wanted to make six figures in your life? Maybe some of you do, but some of you probably do not. You know, it took a long time in my life to establish earning six figures on a regular basis. And once you get to six figures, it's not that big a deal. But you know what? It is a huge deal until you get there. So that's what we're going to talk about today. If you don't know me, my name is Matt Stafford. I'm the founder of the Senior Referral Academy. You can click the link below, listen to about a six-figure income opportunity for you. You can click that webinar. It's free. You can schedule a free consultation with me if you like. And I'm also the owner of Stafford Senior Solutions. You see the sign right behind me. And we're going to talk all about how to get this mentality, because you need this in order to be successful and to get to six figures. And once you get there, it's not that big a deal, but you're able to grow. But by getting to the six figures, you're obtaining your goal and you're also establishing some momentum. And if you ever played sports in your life, at any point in time, you know when Mo sits on your bench, man, your team starts to explode and it just seems like all kinds of great things start happening to you. So again, if you don't know me, that's who I am, Matt Stafford. Go ahead and click the wow face if you would. Tag somebody that might need to hear this message today, because I believe it will be beneficial to them. But the first thing you have to do, I'll give you three things in order to establish the six-figure mentality is, number one, you have to do the math. The answer is in the math. I don't know if you were good in math in school or not. That was actually kind of my favorite subject. English, not so much, but that's okay. But math, that was my favorite subject. And this is how you get to six figures, guys. Do you realize the average income in the United States is $46,800, okay? Roughly, what is that? $22.50 an hour, okay? That's what it is the average person in the United States is making. If you want to get to six figures, you just put 100,000 right on top of that, which is roughly $48 an hour. And then you're going to come down to about what? $25.50 is what you're going to be left over. Okay, that's what's going to be left over right there is $25.50. So that becomes the second thing I encourage you to do. Oh, what did I tell you? I'm going to give you three things? Well, I'm going to give you three things plus a question at the end, because the question is the key. So stick around to the question, because if you don't answer the question appropriately or right for you, you'll never get to six figures. But this becomes, in essence, your target. Okay? Now, if you're making $46,800 a year and you're working 40 hours a week, there's no way you're going to be able to work another 40 hours a week unless you're Superman. Come on, a superwoman out there can do 80 hours in a week. But let's just say you can do this in 20 hours. If you do that in 20 hours, you're going to need to make $51 an hour. All right? That's a lot of money per hour, I know. I mean, registered nurses are up in the mid 40s and the 50s. And so unless you have some kind of specialized degree or advanced degree, more than likely you will not be generating $51 an hour. So how do you do it? I believe 51, let me do the math real quick. 51 times 20 is 1,020. Okay, that's what I thought it was going to be. I should better do that pretty quick. I told you I was good at math. So 1,020 per week becomes your target. Okay? So don't get caught up in the hourly wage. That's just doing the math part. The target now becomes 1,020. That is key, because now you've got that in your mind now. Okay? Now you can start to do number three that'll get you to six figures, and that is become creative and resourceful. Resourceful. All right? Because what happens is the average person, what they'll do is they'll make this amount of money, $46,800, and they'll be content with 40 hours a week. They'll try to get overtime. They'll do maybe something on the weekend, have a yard sale, you know, fill some online surveys out or whatever it may be. And they'll never get to six figures because there's only so much you can do at that one location. Now, become great at what you do. If you can get an advancement there, get in management, whatever it may be, and get a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 increase, that's great. But let's say you're at 46.8, you need $25.50 an hour in addition to get to the 100,000. That's going to come out to 1,020 per week. That becomes your target. All right. And what happens is, guys, it's psychological. I call it a six-figure mentality. That is 1,020 becomes your target. Now you're aiming. I'm getting ready to start going to the range, and I'm getting into, you know, if you're against guns, I apologize. I'm getting ready to get into some guns. I want to get a CNC and all kinds of things. But you go to the range, I mean, you've got to aim at a target if you're going to hit it. You can't just go in there and just start shooting aimlessly everywhere, right? Same in life. And the same with six figures, making a six-figure income, you've got to have a specific target. Now here's the key of all this, all right? The key is when you're creative and you become resourceful, you're working both sides of your mind. Both sides of your mind, you have a creative side and you have an analytical side. They have to come together, and when they converge, what happens is clarity begins to take place. And that is what you need more than anything to obtain the six figures, is getting clarity of vision, clarity of goals, clarity of purpose, all those kind of things you hear from motivational speakers. You need that. And that's why you've got to start off with a target. But the reason people don't get clarity of vision and purpose and goals and all that is they don't have a target. Or they think this figure here is too big. They can't do 1,020 per week because, God forbid, I'm already working 40 hours a week. How am I going to do more? It's not about the hours, guys, and how many hours you work. It's about your focus, your target. Let it come to 1,020. Get creative, get resourceful, and then it ends with a question. I told you I'm going to give you 3 things to get to six figures. These are the 3 things. Do the math. Have a target. Be creative and resourceful on those 2 things. I'll put them together because those 2 things, working both sides of your mind, gets you clarity. And then the final thing, it ends with a question. And to get successful in life, I've learned this the hard way, is once I ask myself better questions, I get better answers. When I ask myself the right question, I get right and correct answers. It's when I ask myself dumb questions, I get dumb answers. You got to get the point, okay? But this right here, and it comes back to my sports analogy, and some of you that won't mow on your side have to ask this question: how bad do you want it? Comes down to a will, comes down to you getting out of bed at 6 in the morning. It comes out of a work ethic that is strong, that can accomplish anything in life. But you got to do the math, have a target, be creative and resourceful. That'll bring you to clarity. If you don't do that part there, you'll aimlessly try to get six figures by making the same amount of money each and every year. How I know that? That's me. I did that. I did that constantly, year after year. I'd make 55,000. I'd make 65. I climbed to 75, go back down to 60, go to 80, all hovering all around that. It's not a bad income. But if your goal is to get six figures, you got to face reality and do the math. If you don't do the math, you're just aimlessly shooting, remember? And that's what I did for most of my life. For the last 3 years, I have not done that. And I have attained this and a lot more, but it's doing the math, okay? And that's how you get there. And I want to teach people how to obtain six figures working out of their house. I do these videos in my home office because I want to show you this is where I work. This is what I do. I get up in the morning, I come to this office right here. I go out and I see residents. I got a couple tours tonight, a couple different things you don't know about the business, but I do a couple things outside the house, and I come right back here. I got my computers here, my printers here, copiers here. All this stuff is right here in this office. 3 marker boards because I'm very visual and all that, but you got to have a mentality that you're going to get to where you want to go. If you don't, you'll never get there. I hope this has been helpful to you. If you want to learn about a six-figure income, click the link below, listen to the webinar. It's free. Again, you can schedule a free 15-minute consultation with myself. I would be happy to share with you what I do, how I got there, and what you can do to provide a great income for you and your family. God bless, and I'll see you next time.